What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 334. And our podcast this week is brought to you by the Patriots VPR 400 NVMe SSD. This is the first Gen 4 NVMe SSD that features RGB lighting. And you can see where the RGB lighting would be. It's not on because I don't have this plugged into.
Imagine that it's not lighting up when you're holding it.
What if I just like pressed on it really hard and the RGBs would light up? That'd be kind of cool, actually. But yeah, no, it's a super fast Gen 4 drive that does, like I said, feature RGB lighting. If you want to know more about it, just go to thinkcomputers.org/VPR400 and it will take you right to the product page and tell you more about this drive. We also did review this drive as well. So if you're interested in that, we have the review on the website. But with me, without forgetting about him, is my co-host Ryan. What's going on?
Not much. Yes, please don't forget about me. Or I'll just be quiet the whole time. Whatever, you know. Sit back, relax, chat.
I know. No. Yeah, you just hang out with everybody in the live chat, and I'll just talk to myself. Right. I just had to post a BeReal. Are you on BeReal? I know we talk about tech stuff at the end of the podcast, but this is like a new social media thing. It's like it's called BeReal. So basically every day you're prompted to take a photo, and then when you take a photo, it takes a photo from the front camera and the back camera.
Okay.
And then it posts it, and after 24 hours, it's gone or whatever. And the only way you can interact with other people, like your friends on the application, is if you yourself post. So if I don't post anything today, I can't see my friends' BeReals for the day. So that's why it's called BeReal. It's actually it's kind of just like it says, BeReal, BeReal.
Okay. I think the other day BeReal, like you needed to shoot some BeReal, so I was not finding it. I was like, none of this looks right.
Yeah, but no, it's a pretty cool app. I've been on it for like a couple weeks. A few of my friends here in San Diego got me on it, and it's cool. It's just like cool to see like what your friends are up to, because again, it's not like Instagram, even though it's like, again, it was started to be instant because it's like Instagram isn't really Instagram. Like everybody edits photos, and it's not like
not everybody. Man, I'll touch some things up a little bit, but
yeah, but it's also not instant. It's not like what you're doing at that moment, right? So this doesn't allow you to like import a photo or do anything like that, and it shows what you're actually doing. So again, it takes a picture of you and what you're doing, which I think is pretty cool.
You see behind the scenes as well. You're like, oh, here's my picture perfect life, and in the background it's total chaos, right?
Yeah, I wish this would. I don't know why it's not posting for me. Oh, here it goes. So like, here's mine. So like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but like, there's the picture of me.
Oh, nice.
And there's the picture of the podcast. So like, I had to just post it. So like I said, pretty cool app. Like I said, I know we talk about stuff at the end of the podcast, as far as like new tech stuff, but since I had to just post now because it just gave me the thing I wanted to talk about it. But yeah, this is of course a PC hardware podcast, not a social media podcast. So we'll jump right into our reviews. Before we do though, if you guys did want to follow along, we do have our full show notes page that has everything that we're going to talk about this week, all of our reviews. You can follow along, you can click through on everything that we're going to be talking about this week. And let's just jump right in. So I took a look at the Lenovo Yoga 9i. Now this is the 2022 model that features 12th gen Intel processors. I have it right here, so I'm just going to go over it with you guys, kind of just show you what this thing is all about. Don't mind the the fingerprints on it. That's just what happens with these. But yeah, it's a 14-inch laptop, which I think is literally the perfect size. 14-inch laptop, super thin, and it's kind of hard to see, but around the edges here, like all through here, it kind of has this chrome finish, which looks absolutely awesome. This is a Yoga laptop. If you're not familiar with Lenovo Yoga laptops, this is why they're called Yoga. So normal laptop, you would just open up, like this, right? This is how you would open up your laptop. But a Yoga, actually it's turning on because I opened it, but a Yoga allows you to do this. So I can turn it completely around. And now
that's one feature I don't like, is like the turning on when you open them up.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can turn that off. I just haven't turned it off. But yeah, you can do full tablet. So if you are somebody, I don't have the pen. The pen's in the other room. If you are somebody that likes to take notes and just have a tablet, you can do that. It does come with a pen as well. Full touch screen, 10-finger touch. And what's really great about this is, which I can't show you because of where my camera is, but the best thing about the Yoga line is you can kind of put the laptop like this and set it, you have it like this.
Tent mode, yeah.
Yeah, tent mode, and you set it up. And this is perfect for the plane because we all know that the tray tables have absolutely no space, right? There's no space on the tray tables. So this allows you to have a device where you can watch a movie or something like that and still have room for a drink or some food or something like that. That's one of the best features. Other things that I would like to mention before we get into performance on this. One, it's kind of hard to see if I put it this way, but do you see the hinge there, Ryan? The hinge is actually a sound bar, and this is genius. This is so awesome because it is the best sounding laptop as far as audio goes that I've ever used in my life. It is like having, not like the best speaker system, but it's like having
external speakers.
Yeah, external speakers. It's really, really that good. So if you are somebody who doesn't want to use a headset, you can fully use this. Like in this small room that I have here, this would be more than enough sound for it. Like it's really, really that good. And it's so crazy that it's, just that small. But like I said, the sound is one of the best things. If I can do this without going over the ports, you actually have a USB. It's not. But anyways, you have two USB Type-C, which are Thunderbolt 4, and then a USB 3.2 Gen 2, which is Type A. And it's nice to see a Type A. And then you have a a third Type-C on that side, and your combo headphone and microphone jack over there. Super thin, super light. It's a great 2-in-1. It's really, really awesome. Two different colors. This is the space gray, and then they have it in like a I think they call it oatmeal. It's like a sort of tan color. Two different colors, a bunch of different options as well. As far as specs, now the one that we got is the super lowest end unit you can get as far as the memory and screen. So our unit has a Core i7 1260p processor, 1920 by 1200 IPS display, 8 gigabytes of DDR and 8 gigabytes of DDR5, and only a 256 gig SSD. So super low end spec. Now, what's really great about this is the screen. You can go to a 2.8K display or a 4K display, and both of those displays are OLED if you wanted to go that route. The processor is the same across all of the units. You can either do a Core i7 or a Core i5. Most of them are with the Core i7, which is a great processor, which we'll go into. And then as far as the memory, you can do up to 16 gigabytes, and the memory is soldered, so you cannot upgrade your memory down the line. That's common with these thin and light laptops. Yeah. It's kind of a new thing. Helps them save space, obviously. Now, the SSD, you can upgrade. So there is an M.2 slot that you can get your hands on and upgrade the hard drive if you wanted to. You can go up to, like I said, ours came with 256. You can go up to a 1 terabyte SSD in the laptop. So I really like this laptop. I kind of put it through its paces. It does come with this nice little sleeve And I have it right here. I'll grab if I don't unplug everything that's beside here. The power adapter is like the smallest power adapter.
Pretty small, yeah.
Yeah, even compared, like, so this 65-watt power adapter compared to the one that I had on a previous Lenovo laptop, it might be half the size. Like, it's super, super tiny, which is really cool as well. For those who don't like to carry a lot of stuff with them, you can see just how small the adapter is. I mean, it's absolutely
compared
tiny.
To that plug, it's pretty tiny.
Yeah, like I said, it does come with a pen. It's their Precision Pen 2. You can't, in the previous versions, you could put the pen like inside the laptop. Here, to save space, you can just put it in the sleeve that they give you. Some people might not like that. And like I said, just, you can kind of see better that kind of chrome finish. It's one of the sleekest looking laptops that I've seen in a while. Just with that just nice chrome finish, which I really like. Like I said, the screen, one thing that's nice that Lenovo has done, I think on the past 2 generations of their laptops, is instead of giving you a 16:9 screen, so like a 1920 by 1080, you get a 16:10 screen. So it's 1920 by 1200, giving you more vertical space, which definitely comes in handy. Just a little bit more space just makes things a much better experience, at least in my opinion, when using these. And like I said, you can go all the way up to a 4K screen here. You do get a 1080p webcam here instead of last 2 generations were 720p. You're getting 1080p here. The quality is not great. I'll show you a picture that I took of myself. It's not the best. It's only a 2.1 megapixel camera, but it can do 1080p video at 30 FPS. It has your typical Lenovo chiclet style keyboard. I'm a fan of this keyboard. It's been the same on most Lenovo keyboards for a while on their laptops. Now, they did add a bunch of extra buttons over here. One is a fingerprint reader. So if for some reason the webcam supports Windows Hello, so you can just open the laptop up, and if it sees you, it will log you in. But you can use the fingerprint reader, which is right here. There's also some other ones that change, like the cooling setup. There's this button right here actually will blur your background for the webcam. So if you are on a Zoom call or something like that, you don't want people to see what's behind you, you can just press that and it will kind of do that. Others for audio, and the other is for brightness. So you can change those. They're a nice little add-on to have, but not necessarily needed. And like I said, I did everything on this laptop, from writing reviews. I did photo and video editing. The video editing kind of took a hit because, again, we only have 8 gigabytes of DDR5 on this. I think pretty much anybody should get 16. 8 gigabytes is very, very limited on a laptop. It just is, unless you're just doing maybe light photo editing and just like word processing, web browsing, things like that. But again, if you open a few Chrome tabs with YouTube open, that will kill your 8 gigabytes right away. So yeah, the keyboard does light up 2 different lighting levels. It's just white, and there's an auto setting as well. So it will detect the light around you and then set the brightness based on your ambient environment. Here's that picture. It's better than the 7. It's better than I think the previous one was 0.9 megapixels. This is 2.1 megapixels on the camera. It's a upgrade over the previous version, but it's not great. I always say with these laptops, if you are somebody that's doing daily Skype calls, daily Zoom calls, or you're doing serious streaming, coaching, and interviewing, get a dedicated webcam. It's just going to be so much better than these. Just spend $100 and get a good webcam. I would say that. Now, as far as performance goes, it was actually quite impressive to see how this generation of Intel processors on the mobile side are far, far better than what we saw on the 11th gen. So I have a Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon, and I also have an IdeaPad Slim 7 Carbon from a Lenovo as well. The ThinkPad X1 has the Core i7 1165 G7, and then the IdeaPad actually has the newer Ryzen 7 5800U. And if you look at our scores here, it kind of sits in the middle of both of those. slightly getting beat out by the Ryzen 7 in PC Mark 10, but in all the other tests, which are mainly CPU, related tests, it is, Geekbench single core beats everything. Geekbench multi-core beats everything. And then even in 3D Mark, it's beating all of the other processors, which is very impressive. You're going to get a lot more performance out of the 12th gen processors than you are going to be over 11th gen for sure. As far as storage goes, one thing I was kind of disappointed to see was slower write speeds on the built-in SSD. Typically, if we're getting 3,300 megabytes a second read, we get around 3,000 megabytes a second, right? But much slower writes here. It's definitely something to keep in mind. And then I just tested the Thunderbolt 4 ports. For those who don't know, Thunderbolt 4 defaults to USB 3.2 Gen 2, not 2x2, so you get 1,000 megabytes a second read and write on those. The USB ports I didn't mention, they all support power delivery, 60 watts and all of that. So if you're want to charge your phone or something like that, you can do that with fast charge. Like I said, I really like this laptop. It's sleek. It gives you everything that you're really going to want. The processor in there is more than powerful enough. Didn't overheat, didn't have any issues like that. The touchscreen works really well, whether you're using the pen or you're just using your finger. It was very responsive. I love the yoga aspect that you can go ahead and, flip this thing around, and it's thin and light. I forget how much this thing weighs, but it's not a lot. You know what I mean? It's not like it's
not a carbon, but it's not a beast.
Yeah. And again, this is something that, again, it just, for me, like as somebody who travels, I'm on a plane, like this is the device that I want, because a tablet can only do so much, right. Especially the tablet.
Especially if you're trying to be productive.
Yeah, the tablet keyboards are kind of trash, and this gives you everything that you want. You can turn it into a tablet if you really want to, but it just has so much more that you can really do with it, which I really, really like. And again, I think the 14-inch size, 13 is just a little small, but 14, it's a perfect size, I think, for like an everyday laptop. So like I said, the one that we reviewed was a Best Buy exclusive, and it's currently not available, so we don't have a price on it, but I would think like $899, $999 for it, just based on what I've seen. The unit that's my favorite that you can get at Best Buy as well, same processor, but you would get 16 gigabytes of RAM. The 2.8K OLED display and a 512 gig SSD is $14.99. That's the one that I get. Now, if you wanted to up things and go for the 4K OLED display with a 1 terabyte SSD, it's $17.99. So yeah, I think it's priced well for what you're getting. Battery life is really good on this as well. Yeah, I like this. The only issues that I found with it, I'm always going to say this, even though that this has been phased out, and maybe this is me being old school, but there's no SD card slot on this.
Oh, I noticed that too when you were showing the ports, and I was like, oh man.
And like, most laptops these days don't have SD card slots, and that's like a known thing. But it's still, as somebody who does photography and video work, like
now you got to carry around an adapter or a
dongle. So that's the slower write speeds on the SSD. And Lenovo, fix your website, because if I just Google, what am I Googling? Yoga 9i. If I Google this, that's an ad, but the one that's not an ad, I believe, is this one. So if I click on this one, and here we go. So if I click on this one, this is the last generation, right? So this is not the current generation. That's the first thing that shows up in Google. And none of these listed are the current generation at all. This is the previous 9i with a 11th gen processor, which again, we showed you the performance difference. So you don't want this. That's the first thing that shows up when you Google it. You have to go down to the second result, which is the new one, right? So that's just it's kind of confusing, and they both look almost the same. The only difference is that on the little soundbar thing, the previous generation, it says Lenovo. On this new generation, it doesn't. That's the only really way to tell. If you're not like a spec person, you just saw this laptop, you're like, I want the Yoga 9i. You go to Best Buy, you know, Best Buy is still selling the previous generation as well. So it is a little confusing to tell the two apart.
If you go up on the breadcrumbs on their website, like just above the title of the, like if you hit yoga or 2-in-1 even, like whichever, does it show you both there too? Compare 2-in-1 series. I was just curious if they showed them
so
all,
like
or
view 2-in-1 series. So
they don't have them separated by.
It says latest gen right here, but like here's the new one, and then right next to it's the old one.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's just a little confusing. Again, most people are just going to go on Google and type in
hit whichever one's first. Yeah. You expect the newest to be the first.
But yeah, see how the old one has this little Lenovo logo right here?
Yep.
That's the older gen compared to the new one. So those are the only things. I think this is an excellent laptop. One of the laptops I review a decent amount of laptops in my time, and most of them are like, oh, this would be cool to have, but I don't need it. This seems like it would be like the perfect laptop for me. Somebody who travels, somebody who does enjoy a tablet. Like I do, like when I'm doing stuff, I do like taking like handwritten notes or like writing my to-do list by hand, and having that in a digital form you know, with a pen is really nice to have. And then just the tent feature for when I'm on the plane, because I typically just have like an old iPad to watch movies because it doesn't take up as much space as my laptop. So yeah, and the Type A port on this is something you typically don't see. Almost all manufacturers have gone to all Type C, but just to have that one Type A means that you might not need a dongle for your older devices or even newer devices that still use a Type A for their connection, like a mouse, wireless mouse dongle or something like that. You know what I mean? You won't need a separate dongle that gives you the Type A port. You have at least one on this, which I thought was pretty nice as well. So yeah, definitely go ahead and check that review out and pick one up if you can. It's like I said, they're definitely a nice laptop for sure. And then I also took a look at a NVMe SSD. This one is long awaited. We've waited 2 years for an update over Western Digital's WD Black SN850, which, like I said, came out about 2 years ago. So we have the new SN850X. This is a Gen 4 NVMe solid state drive. Average speeds are around 7,300 megabytes a second and 66, that's read, and 6,600 megabytes a second write. And you can buy this one today in 4 terabyte, which a lot of these drives, these Gen 4 drives, you can only get in 2 terabyte. Some might have 4 terabyte, but when this thing launched about a month ago, you could get it in 4 terabyte, which a lot of people are looking for. So it's your typical drive. We received the one that does not have the heatsink. Like all drives these days, there's a heatsink version, non-heatsink version, about a $20 difference. The one with the heatsink does look pretty sweet. Western Digital has always done a good job on their M.2 heatsink. But we have the non-heatsink version. It's your typical standard M.2 drive. Nothing special about it. Everything is in-house from Western Digital as well. It's all their controller, everything like that. So nothing to, you know, it's not using a Phison controller. It's all in-house. Everything is made by them. They do have some pretty good SSD dashboard software. This allows you to update firmware. We updated the firmware when we got it. Super easy to do. There's also this gaming mode that's built into this. This is in beta. I didn't find it as useful in certain tests. Basically what it does is it prioritizes games, and it will technically sort of slow down the drive so it doesn't overheat in certain situations. You can turn it on or off, or you just set it on auto if you want. But the software is really great for checking performance, checking your drives, obviously updating your firmware and everything like that. It's pretty easy to do. As far as our performance goes, we'll just go you to the comparisons. It's in the top of our drives, but I would say it sits in the middle or closer to the bottom of our, as far as raw speed, in our second generation of Gen 4 drives. If you just look over these graphs, like I said, it kind of sits at that bottom spot as far as the speeds go, which is still fine. The speeds are pretty solid across the board too. You're not going to see a whole lot of deviation, especially when it comes to reads. The writes, if you do a full system drive write, we'll show you that. And even that, I mean, it gets pretty far across the entire drive before it really shuts down, almost all the way, although 45% across the drive, which is pretty impressive. Keeping, pretty average speeds, even when it does go down, it still will get back up a little bit. So it's a good overall drive, I would say. Some say this might be a little bit late. We do have a lot of Gen 4 drives that are beating this in speed and things like that. But I think overall, it's still a very good drive. It's all made by Western Digital. They're constantly updating their firmware, and their firmware is super easy to update. You won't have any issues with it. Like I said, it comes in 2 different versions. You can get it in heatsink, non-heatsink. So it also comes with a 5-year warranty. 2 terabyte, $229, 1 terabyte, $134.99, and then the 4 terabyte is $494. So yeah, I just think it's a good overall drive. It's one of the better Gen 4 drives that you're gonna get. But it's just not the fastest that we've seen out there from Gen 4 drives. So those are things to definitely definitely think about. But I like it. I would definitely recommend it to somebody who's looking for a Gen 4 drive. Again, especially because you can get it in 4 terabytes. So max out your system with a bunch of these, and you're definitely good to go there, which I like. So yeah, definitely check that review out. And we move to Case Mod Friday, and we have another old school, new school build from our friend.
This used to be my favorite case.
Yeah, from my friend Stuart over at GGF. He has done another build in a Silverstone TJ07, which back in the day, if you guys remember, this was the case. This was like, if you were doing a high-end build, this was the case to do it in. It's just an excellent case. And for him to reimagine the case as he has is awesome. So you can see he built this custom kind of front section and put the water cooling through there. He has this distro block kind of put in here. This is with the ASRock Aqua board, which has the water cooling built in. I'm a sucker for the frosted tubing, so you have all of that there as well. Colors are all, obviously great too. So yeah, I mean, this is
it's got the Aqua logo cut into the front panel. I don't know if you can see it on the previous image.
Yeah, I'll bring up one. Yeah, you can bring up this one.
Yeah, so he's got that cut in there. It looks really nice.
Yeah, and this is a big case. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of this case. Like I said, Stuart always does really good work. He has a full video if you guys want to check it out. It is in the article page as well. So, and you don't notice is the mirror too. So he put this mirror in here, which it's kind of hard to tell, but if you like that image, I don't know if there's another one that has, no, you can't see it as much, but especially this image, if you're looking at the case at at an angle above it, this would definitely show. It's just cool to see everything reflecting off there, which is pretty cool. So
I wish you would have done something a little more on that custom panel up front, because at certain angles, like right there, it looks like almost too empty, right? It's just got those 2 runs in there. At that angle, it looks odd. Other angles, it looks fine. It's just some angles you don't notice it, and others you do. And then that removable cover on the bottom, is pretty awesome. I think you probably use some magnets or something there to snap it on there, because there's no sign of mounting brackets or anything. It's a nice way to hide the radiators down there.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I think I can't tell. I'd have to watch the video, but based on what I'm seeing, the entire motherboard tray is a res
distro probably pump, maybe.
Everything is.
Yeah, I didn't watch the video. I just looked at all the
I haven't watched it, but you could just see how it's all. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So definitely check out the video because he goes through the entire build process, filling the loop, doing everything in his videos. So yeah, I like the custom cutouts and everything for the for all of the cabling is just awesome as well. So,
Very
so
nice.
yeah, just good stuff. Good EK water block stuff and everything too. So yeah, I love that frosted tubing, man. Just it's like my favorite thing. You know, we always talk about it, but that's like probably one of my favorite things is the frosted tubing. So yeah, so definitely check that out. As I always say, we have our full case mod Friday section that has so many builds. You could sit on there for hours and just look through stuff. So definitely check that out. We will move on to news. And last week, Intel did confirm pricing on their Arc A7 GPUs. The reviews came out today. So before we can get into this, if you're interested, there's a ton of websites that have the reviews, ton of videos out there. Those launched this morning. So if you want to see how, I haven't looked at any of it, but if you guys want to, just Google Arc A770 review and you can find some stuff out there. But Intel did confirm pricing. So the Arc A750, that's going to come with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. That's going to be just $289. And we have the full spec sheet here if you guys are interested in the different, in the speeds, how many ray tracing units, all the clocks, everything was all released last week. So it's all out there. So you guys have that. So that's the A750 at $289, and then the Arc A770, and I believe this is what NVIDIA should do with their different series, is you have the Arc A770. There's an 8 gig version that's going to be $329. The 16 gig version is going to be $349. It's only $20 difference. In the VRAM.
Sounds much better. And is it the same GPU?
Yeah, same. It's just a VRAM change. Yeah.
Huh. Sounds Someone could definitely take a page out of Intel's book. And
yeah, I feel like Intel did that right. But those are the prices. Very affordable. Again, I haven't looked at the reviews, but from everything that Intel has said, this would be comparable to 3060 type performance, which is great. Which is like, especially if you're 1080p gaming and if you're playing like Counter-Strike Source, Overwatch 2 just came out. So like Overwatch and other games, this is going to be a great card for you. And I think there's going to be a decent amount of availability on it as well. So yeah, so check out the reviews. I'll probably later tonight, I'll probably, watch some videos on these. But yeah, they're out. And both of these will be available for purchase October 12th. That's the exact same day that RTX 40 series is available too. So yeah, October 12th, if you're looking to buy a new graphics card, you can either do Intel or you can do NVIDIA, whatever you want to do. If you want the new, you can do NVIDIA because the RTX 40 series, which we do have pricing on. And I'm kind of surprised at this, honestly. We saw a lot of price gouging from manufacturers on aftermarket GPUs. And with the RTX 40 series, at least from this list that was on Newegg, that you can see prices. Now, the Founders Edition of the RTX 4090 is $1,599. We see some cards here that are $1,599. We see an MSI Gaming RTX 4090, $1,599. Gigabyte WindForce, $1,599. ASUS Tough Gaming, $1,599. This is the Gaming X Trio version, $1,649. The MSI Supreme 24, Supreme X, $1,699. Hybrid with the it's probably 240 AIO.
Yeah.
That's $1,749. The ASUS Tough Gaming, I'm not sure what the difference between this one and this one is. This one's probably overclocked, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The
O and the 24.
Yeah, over 20. So this is the overclocked version, $1,799, and then the Strix, ROG Strix.
I'll tell you what, I'm not paying $200 for the overclock.
Yeah, so there might be, again, we don't know, but like there might be different board designs or whatever. Sure. But it's good to see that you're seeing, because again, with the previous generation, especially as we went into COVID and stuff, like there were, a card would be, say like a card would be $15.99 for like a 3090. Then we saw 3090s from the manufacturer, not like scalper price, from the manufacturer, be like $3,000. So it's good that we're not seeing that. We have good prices. You should be able to pick up a 4090 for $15.99 if you really wanted to. And then again, going up $400 for the Strix, which is like the highest end card from them, that's not horrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's good to see. I think that's that's going to be a good thing. We'll see when they launch again. Same date, October 12th. Yeah. You going to pick one up?
No.
Holding off.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Old man in the chat, he did say Intel recommends only buying their Arc series if you have a system that has resizable bar. Performance plummets without it. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. I did see some reviews or like some stuff on Twitter that did mention that. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind if you're interested in those Intel cards. Talking about graphics cards, we saw a really cool card kind of become unearthed because somebody sold it. A mining card that was supposed to be a retail card at one time that never happened, was this XFX Radeon RX 6700 XL with 10 gigabytes of VRAM. We had heard about a RX 6700 XL before. It was rumored. It never came out. I guess it came out in the mining scene that had 10 gigabytes of VRAM on it. Obviously for mining, somebody sold it. And because of course mining is all but over. But yeah, that's just pretty cool. I like when we see this. We saw there was an NVIDIA card a while back that had different VRAM. It was different configuration as well. That was sold. So it's pretty cool to see this. It's a little, like I said, it's a, but
I haven't thought about XFX in quite a while.
Yeah. Well, they're out there. They're making cards. So yeah. So pretty cool to see. The person who posted it, we have his Twitter post. If you guys are, want to go ahead and check that out. What else do we have? Now, this is something you might be interested in because you're our laptop gamer. You have a big ass laptop.
I have a big ass laptop. Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
It's bigger than that Yoga you looked at.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So XMG, who we've covered before, who has these crazy, basically desktop replacement laptops, they announced a new laptop featuring a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D. This is, of course, the desktop version of the chip, which is great for gamers. I think if you're somebody who games on a laptop and you want basically the best performance, because that's what we've seen is that even this Ryzen 7 5800X is still performing better in games than the newer Ryzen stuff. To put that in a laptop, so they're putting it in. This is their Apex 15 Max from XMG. You can see how thick this thing is.
It's a thick boy for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's thick. You can see where the cooling
is. I mean, that's bigger than what I have now. Like that reminds me of this old ASUS laptop I have. I still have, but it was Ethernet, huge.
You have Ethernet.
Well, you got it if you're.
And it looks like it has a card slot. So
hey, even better. That looks like a micro SD, but yeah.
Yeah, still you got it.
Plenty of cooling, it looks like, or at least ventilation.
Tons of cooling. 120 hertz display on it as well.
No Type C, one Type C on the back, it looks like, and then like a HDMI and mini display port.
There might be stuff on the. Oh, that is the back. One Type C. Yeah, 3 Type A's. But like I said, I think this would be like the pinnacle of gaming because that 5800X 3D is going to give you
extra performance.
Extra performance in gaming. So pretty cool to see. I like how like XMG does this stuff, like putting desktop parts in a laptop, kind of making it work. That's just super cool to me because why not, right?
Right.
Especially because again, these aren't designed to be thin and light. These are designed to be like legit desktop replacement. So it is pretty cool to see. Old man in the chat, he goes, that's the kind of laptop I'd buy. See, if I was like gaming all the time, that's the type of laptop I would buy. But this thing has to be heavy, probably 6 to 8 pounds.
It said how many kilograms it was in there. Oops, wrong link. I think it was like 2.6 kilograms.
What is that to pounds?
Did I say 2.6?
Yeah.
It's 5.7 pounds.
Yeah, that's a heavy laptop.
Yes, very.
I remember carrying, like I used to carry a big laptop around, and it was just always so heavy.
Well, and the power supply for them too, right? Like that's going to be probably I don't know.
I had a 17-inch. I had a 17-inch that had a 200-watt. It was like almost as big as this laptop. I mean, it was huge. It was a really big, power adapter. So yeah, those are the things you have to think about. Also, B650, B650E motherboards were all announced. We did get pricing on those. They're going to start at $199, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, no, that seems really reasonable
compared to what we saw from the what is it, the X670, X670E. Yeah. These are great because not everybody's going to need everything. Just like we talked about in with AMD's last generation as well. Like this is a great platform, and motherboard manufacturers are making really good boards for this platform too. So if you don't need the super crazy highest end spec stuff, but you still want the performance of a Ryzen 7000 chip and some of the other features, the newer connections, newer Wi-Fi, things like that, this is a great great platform. And again, all the boards are available now that you can get. But it's good to see that we're starting at $199. We're not starting at $299.
Yes.
$289. So yeah, so lots of B560, or I always say B650. I get them all confused.
I think it's you're fine.
Yeah. So also I thought you would be interested in this one, Ryan. EK and MSI announced a motherboard together.
Yep.
So they announced the MPG X670E Carbon EK that comes with a big old block on it.
Yeah, I like it other than the Dragon.
Ryan hates the MSI Dragon for some reason.
Well, it's tacky, but no, I think it looks good. The color scheme, the lines on it look nice. They match up with the heatsink across your chipset and M.2 slots. Just the way the lines line up looks good. I like stuff like this.
It does come with the block not on the board, so when you have to install your processor.
Sure. Yeah.
It comes in two different parts. Did they say the price? $849.90, and that's in euros. So they're supposed to ship out mid-November. See, I like it. I always liked, and we don't see it. Oh, we still see it, but I really like when motherboard or graphics card manufacturers, they work with a known, they work with EK or Bits Power on a product like this. I think it's super cool. And again, not just a block, like it's a full product with that company. I really like that. So that's
and it's just cooling though. There's no pump in that, right? In
not
that side piece there. Okay,
no, I don't think so. No. Yeah, no, it's just.
Oh, it has an integrated flow meter though.
Yeah. Oh.
Cool.
Oh, it's a limited edition run, so I don't know how many they.
Yeah, I can't see this being too. Not that it wouldn't be popular, but
you have to, just like the Aqua boards. Like there's, I think only 1,000 of those get made, and I mean, not everybody's doing a crazy custom loop and wanting to spend the money for something like that as well. So like I said, pretty cool to see. Another thing that was really interesting, and we saw this from Gigabyte, I believe, earlier this year. Yeah. And ASUS, do you think this is going to be the trend going forward?
I don't know. I like the idea of it. I don't know.
It would radically change case design.
I don't know if radically. I wish that we could get to a point where there was like a, consolidation of ports and things, right? They've just kind of moved everything to the back of the board here. Like the most notable is the 24 pin and like the CPU power connections, but you've got your SATA and everything else on the back as well. So yeah, you'd have to. I don't know that you'd have to necessarily totally change case design, because you just make some cutouts in different areas that aren't supporting the motherboard anyways, right? You just extend some openings, because you've always got the opening behind the CPU plate most of the time.
Yeah.
And like your mounting holes on it, or you've got the 3 up top, and then you have the 3 below the CPU area, right? You could just cut that whole area out. It's not, and you could figure out a way to add some structural integrity to the case. So it'd be cool. I'd be interested to see how
it
it
would
looks.
definitely make it so you could. I mean, we have cases now that it's like it's hard to have a badly like it's hard to have cable mess because you can hide it in so many cases these days. But yeah, so this is from ASUS. This is called their DIY-APE Revolution design. So basically, they're going to take your motherboard, and you can see in this motherboard, all your connections are on the front. We have 24 pin, everything. But then on this board, they're gone, and everything is just covered, which does look better. Even like we have two different colors here, but I mean, having nothing there does look a lot better. And then, like I said, all those connections get moved to the back of the board.
The thing is, you're still going to have like your CPU fan that has to route around, right, to the back. You're going to have your GPU that's got power cables, right? So you're not going to get rid of those cables being visible. And I think braided and color coordinated cables look good too, right?
Yeah, we've done that for so long. Here's another picture.
I still think it looks good. I mean, I don't have any issue with it. I like that logo too.
Yeah,
than the dragon on MSI.
But yeah, I mean, it's does this show? Let me go to this Twitter post here and see if this shows.
Yeah,
so it shows that
kind of got cutouts.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, where they would be.
And it looks like they've got a panel that's covering up the CPU backplate. Yeah, you just have like a thumb screw there, and that like looks like it hinges down or something. It could be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, it would be interesting. Like I said, it would. Yeah, we'll see if it ever takes shape. This is the second major company, I believe. Gigabyte showed something similar earlier this year, so that's two major motherboard manufacturers, at least, showing that this is possible and that they are possibly considering it. So yeah, I mean, I'm down for it. I like as much as the more cables I can hide, the better for me, because I get lazy with the cable management. So
you start off so nice, you're like, all right, this is gonna be great, and then you get into it and you're like, oh my god, like,
especially if
fan cables and my lighting,
the fan cables and ARGB cables, especially if you're doing like more than 3 fans, is just as a pain in the ass. So talking about cases, this is an interesting one because the original version of this case came out a while back. This is the AZZA Pyramid, and they came out with a mesh version. I kind of like the original version. In the original version, instead of mesh panels here, these were tempered glass. I like that. It probably wasn't great cooling wise, just because you're all glass. I do not like this mesh. I don't know. I wanted to see what you thought of this, Ryan.
I'm just not a fan of the triangle design. I've never liked this design in the first place, so I don't really care for it either way. I mean, I think it'll definitely improve cooling performance a bit, but then again, the motherboard is flat and they've got fans blowing up underneath it, so they're just blowing onto the bottom of the motherboard, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's still not great.
And a fan up top. It looks like they have a fan up top.
Yeah, there's a fan right here, so that's kind of
depending, I guess, on which orientation you have it in. Who knows? And actually, those fans were pointed down. It looks like they have their AIO there, and it was blowing downwards. So I don't know. Who knows? It's not my style.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I think the original with tempered glass, just because again you can see everything inside. This, I mean, you can see that. I mean, you can kind of see stuff inside, but it's not.
What if it has lights, or if it doesn't, it should have lights inside the pillars, the corners going up, right, to help illuminate.
Yeah, that would be a nice little,
or a top down.
something. But yeah, in this case, expensive too. $419.
No thanks.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's all aluminum, which I don't even know if it is, that's a lot of money for a case.
Old man says you better not leave it on the floor. If you trip and fall and impale yourself, how embarrassing. I actually thought the exact same thing when I saw this case. I was like, God, man, if you fell on that thing, it looks so sharp and pointy.
Yeah. It would look cool sitting on a desk, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Something different. It doesn't supports up to EATX, but still, it's just like, again, like, how much was the half 700 that we reviewed, which is like massive, is like right around the same price. Was it not? That's $419. Yeah, $299 for a case that's a lot larger, better cooling, and supports a lot more as far as cooling and hard drives.
Components in general, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a lot of money. Still a cool case, but I'm not a fan of the mesh. So yeah. What else do we have? I think we have a couple more stories. One big story, actually, that is the last story. We're running through this pretty quickly. Do you guys all remember Google Stadia? Remember when that launched? The Google Stadia?
Yeah.
So if you guys don't know, about 3 years ago, which it seems like
doesn't seem like it's been that long. Yeah.
Google launched Stadia, which was their game streaming service. So basically, what it was is that you could buy games like you would normally buy them, and then you could load them onto Stadia, and then you could play them, with your phone. You could play them with non-powered, device or non-graphically powered devices. So you could easily play games basically anywhere, right? That's the whole idea of game streaming. We've seen a bunch of companies try to do it. Google decided that they were done. There were rumors for months that it was not that Google Stadia was shutting down. They kind of just months ago they said no, we're in it for the long run, and they decided to completely shut the whole thing down, which is comes in an interesting time. So we just saw Logitech launch their new G Cloud gaming handheld, which looks pretty cool actually. Game streaming is getting more popular. But yeah, they decided to completely shut it down. Anybody who bought hardware or software games through Google Stadia, they're getting 100% refunds on everything.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better about it.
Yeah.
From a customer perspective.
The service is going to remain live until January 18th, 2023. And then people will start getting refunds in mid-January. So yeah, and like I said, it launched only 3 years ago. It kind of blows my mind because Google is a massive company, right? Mm-hmm. And they're one of the few that could do this.
Well, yeah, that has the infrastructure to support
the infrastructure,
this.
Otherwise money.
You have to. There's only a few that do, right? Amazon, Microsoft, Google. Off the top of my head, right? Like that have the infrastructure, the global infrastructure to support.
NVIDIA's doing it with GeForce Now.
Yeah.
But it's just like, why? Again, Google. Like I said, it's just weird. It's like, is this ever going to take off? Is this ever going to be? Is all the other companies losing money? Because I assume that's why this is shutting down, because they weren't making any money, or they were bleeding money for it.
Yeah.
I just don't know how a product of this magnitude launches and you shut it down within 3 years. That's pretty.
That's how many years did you spend setting this thing up? Yeah.
It's not a long time to either turn things around or whatever, or make it better, or even try to sell it to somebody else or whatever. They just completely no, we're done.
Yep. So
it's kind of weird. But at least they're doing the right thing. Like I said, they're giving refunds on everything.
Right.
So basically, you got to play games and stream games for free for however long you've had the service. Yeah, I don't know. I just want one of these to work and be like the thing, right?
The
Be
one
like
that, yeah.
the one that works. I don't know who it is. GeForce Now doesn't have the big. Who are the other ones that do games? I mean, Microsoft does it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they're not like nothing is mainstream. I think it has a lot to do with like the internet speeds in the United States too, because in order for these to work where there's not a whole lot of latency, you know, and things like that, like you're not going to be playing like we play Apex, like you're not going to be playing Apex on this, at least competitively, because your latency is not going to be there. So I think the internet speed has a lot to do with it too. Maybe when that comes, you know, and like, you know, our 5G speeds and we have 6G coming and things like that. Yeah, I feel sad. I don't like when things like this shut down.
No. Yeah.
As you know, as much as I would, I might have used it once, like when they had the free trial, maybe 3 years ago when but it's not. I mean, I have a computer with a 3090 in it. Like I'm not going to. And again, I don't have a commute anymore to the office. I don't. When I'm out doing things, I try not to be on my phone in general. So it's not like I'm somewhere, you know. And then when I'm traveling, typically it's like podcast or like I'm working on a laptop. Like, what do you like when you travel? Would you be somebody that would play games?
I don't know. No, well, like I could see myself doing it on a flight, but then like your internet there is probably definitely not going to support it.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, if I'm traveling somewhere else, I'm usually doing something else. I'm not like the downtime that I have, I'm probably not going to be spending gaming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I get away from the normal things.
You were gaming at CES when we were at CES.
Okay, that's because we were getting ready in the morning and I had a few extra minutes. So you're not wrong, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, and then Old Man said in the chat, well, first he said, the biggest problem with Stadia and services like that is you don't own the games. Once the service goes down, you no longer have access to the games. I'm not sure if that's true on Stadia. I know on like GeForce on one of them, they were like the games they were like the games that you bought. So you log into the service and there would be like a Steam launcher and a Rocket, you know, and you would log in and it's like a virtual instance basically. I don't know how Stadia worked as far as that goes. But then he also said, can you imagine Steam going down? Like, imagine if that did. Steam's way too big, I think, for that to ever happen, because all of these games that you do own, like, how would you, like, if Steam, something happened, all of these publishers, they don't have the infrastructure to support that, to do all that. So that would be kind of crazy. Talking about games, Old Man, do you want to get the free games this week on the Epic Games Store? And we'll talk about, while he's doing that, we'll talk about what we have coming next week, which I'm super, super excited about. I'll be doing all things Ryzen 7000 series, taking a look at the ASRock X670E Tai Chi motherboard. I haven't even opened it yet. That's what I'm doing. Oh, okay. Well, the website's not working. I want to click on this. Yeah, that can't get big pictures of the board.
Just kidding.
But yeah, this is kind of like their flagship X670E board. Here we can see it right here. Tons of stuff on this. Like I said, we're going to get into everything next week on this board, but I'm really excited. I'm a big motherboard guy, so I'm super, super excited to take a look at this board for sure. Gen 5, which I don't have a Gen 5 NVMe SSD to test, but there is a Gen 5 M.2 slot, so I'm excited to possibly get a Gen 5 M.2 drive so I can get 10,000 megabytes a second on there. That's the only reason I'm excited is the M.2
speeds.
Yeah, so yeah, super excited to take a look at that. So that's going to be everything. It's going to take me a while to review that motherboard, so it's going to be everything there next week. Nelson said beautiful work of arts. Yeah, I mean, I love motherboards. They're always, I always like how they can put so much tech on the board. That's the one thing I like about reviewing motherboards is, like I said, like Gen 5 speeds, being able to see and test like USB 3.2 Gen 2x2, Thunderbolt 4, USB 4, all the networking stuff. Like there's so much on these boards, and then the power designs on these boards are just crazy. Like it's, and they make them look good. They make them so this is something you want to display. That's why we have all these cases with our tempered glass panels.
Well, it's like we talked about last Thursday with Jim on Home Gadget Geeks. Like it's the platform upgrades that are most exciting, right? Where you get those incremental upgrades of the PCI generations and everything like that. So,
yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So super, super excited to take a look at that. And then as far as games go, old man in the chat said Rising Hell and Slain are free on Epic tomorrow at 10 a.m. Both are horror side-scrolling platformers. Awesome. Just in time for what's it called?
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween's coming up. When is Halloween?
October 31st.
Okay, I forget. I don't know.
I'm not a Halloween person. It's on a Monday. What?
I'm not a Halloween person. I did dress up last year. That was like a last minute decision. I'm not somebody who.
What'd you dress up as?
I was an 80s rocker guy.
Okay.
I don't have the pictures on my computer that I could bring up, but like I got like a wig and I had this crazy outfit with like the spandex pants. I look pretty good, I think, for like I literally threw this together like 2 days before. I mean, it was So I think it worked out pretty well. Where were you last year?
I didn't go anything last year.
No. Nelson in the chat says, when does Intel release their new CPU? Will you do a review on them? So the new, actually, I think it's October 12th as well.
There's a lot coming out in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I believe it's October 12th. I'm not sure if we're going to do a review on them. We haven't been sampled by Intel, which means I'd have to buy the processor. October 20th, which means I'd have to buy the processor, which I had to do for AMD as well. Like I bought that processor with my own money. So I'm considering it. We'll see. Basically, if we get sampled on a motherboard, I will probably buy the processor because I like reviewing motherboards, and if I have a processor, then I can review the motherboard. So that's kind of how that goes. So we'll see. I really would like to test, obviously, Ryzen 7000 series versus the newest Intel generation. So we'll see. We'll see how my cash flow goes because I'd want to get the top end part, which is the 13900. Yeah, 13900K, which is what 649, I believe, which is that's a good bit of change. For something that I'd use it to review motherboards, but then I wouldn't. It's not like it's going to sit in my main.
You're not using it on a daily basis,
my main desktop. Old man also said Total Warhammer 2 is free on Prime Game. I always forget about Prime Gaming. They're really pushing that. Prime is Amazon is with their Prime Gaming too. So that's something to take a look at as well. Ryan, did you do anything tech related this week?
No. I mean, I'll just bring up again, we were on Home Gadget Geeks last Thursday, so go check that out. You can check that out on YouTube or theaverageguy.tv.
Yeah.
You can find us. We talked to Jim about a system build he's wanting to do and some VR stuff, and just kind of rehashed some of the news we talked about last week on Wednesday. Go check that out. Past that, I don't think I did anything really tech related. No.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, RazorCon 2022 is on the 15th. It's coming up.
What?
RazorCon. It's like their big thing. They announce new products. It's like their thing. We were briefed yesterday on some of the new products.
You were briefed?
Yeah, I was briefed. I can't tell you about them, but I was briefed on them. And there'll be some cool products and some stuff that's going to be announced that you want to watch it when it goes live, because they'll tell you about something that the first so many people will get for free. It's not I can't say anything, but it's not a physical product, but it's something cool that Razer's doing. So yeah, watch it, see some of their new products.
All right.
Yeah, so that's on the 15th, which is what? Next
9 days from now?
Yeah, 9 days from now.
Next Friday?
Yeah, next Friday. So we'll talk about we'll remind you again on
I'm sorry, next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday. So we'll remind you again next week for it as well. But that is basically it. I don't think there's anything else that I did. I told you about BeReal.
Yep, I installed it. So it's you don't get to choose the time when you post though.
No, it's completely random.
I don't think I like that.
I like it because it's real. It makes you be real.
No,
you can't fake it. You can't be like, oh, let me do my hair. Like,
is it the same time every day? Or is
no,
it just...
it's okay. Completely random.
Well, that's good.
And you can, so like say you don't get the notification or like your phone's not with you. You can post late, but it will tell everybody that you posted late, like not at your time. It's like accountability. It's kind of cool. I like it. Yeah. And again, it's like you see what your friends are doing every day.
Right.
So
there.
like you just see me, half of mine, if you like add me on there, Ryan, it's just like me in front of my computer.
Hey, imagine that.
Yeah, but I think my thing on there is just Bob TV. If you guys want to add me, hold on. How do I see? Yeah, it's just Bob TV, all one word. If you guys want to add me on BeReal, I'll accept you guys, and you can see what I do every day. So, did you just do one?
I did.
Show us your picture.
My friend's all right. Hang on. Okay. All right, let's pull it up. That was a horrible picture of me because I was like sitting back weird, but
yeah. And then if you click on tap on like the picture of you.
Oh, it'll switch it up.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. So you can see Ryan, and then you can see what he's actually looking at, which is pretty cool. Nelson in the chat, he said he has to build a new system right now. He doesn't have anything but a tablet.
1 hour late.
Trying to decide between Intel or AMD. He really likes AMD. Yeah, I mean, I really like AMD right now too. Intel obviously has a lot going on as well. I always talk about platform as far as raw performance, because the performance is going to be, if you're getting like the top end Intel chip versus the top end AMD chip, the performance is going to be pretty close. And again, it can all depend on titles and everything like that. I would say the platforms are the more important thing. They're both going to support DDR5 memory now. They're both going to support Gen 5 storage, and that's something to think about too. So either are good. I think it just comes down to how much money you want to spend and what kind of other features you're specifically looking for. And old man in the chat said, he said, maybe look for a deal. Previous generation. Yeah. I mean, Ryzen 5000 series now, especially now that 7000 and out is out, all of those old motherboards and all of those old processors are going to be affordable. And that's that's what Ryan, you're running on Ryzen 3000. Yes. I mean, Ryan's still running Ryzen 3000. I have a Ryzen 5000, system here that just runs fine. So yeah, previous generation, if you're looking for a deal, if you're looking to go all out, the newer generations are going to be more expensive. But yeah, just like Nelson said, everything's expensive but very exciting, like all the new tech. Yeah. So like I said, it all kind of comes down to really what you want to spend. So yeah. But yeah, guys, we're going to go ahead and end things here. We are jumping on Twitch. Are we playing Apex, right?
Yeah.
There might be playing Overwatch 2 because Overwatch 2 came out.
No.
We'll have to play it. I'll have to get it.
Yeah.
Because that used to be Ryan's game. That was one of Ryan's favorite games.
I did. We did. Yeah, I played quite a bit of Overwatch.
It was like Overwatch, Fortnite, Apex are like Ryan's 3 most played games ever, probably.
You gotta throw a WoW in there, but
oh yeah, WoW. I forgot about that. I forgot you had their whole WoW thing. But yeah, guys, we're gonna go over to twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us in the live chat. Nelson and Old Man, you guys are always in there typically every week, so we appreciate you. And of course, everybody that listens later. And we will see everybody next week.